This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
Yes, those tickets are going fast. It's the Crossing Realms Conference, September 19th and 20th. Please secure your tickets today. I hate to wish the summer away, but it's fast approaching. So, yes, thanks to everybody. 20 guests, special guests, and speakers. Pre-party on Thursday. Gary Spikes always posts the link in the chat. You can also find the Eventbrite link on my channel, Monica's channel, the Blondes and Booze Texas channel. So we have it. We have a great show for you today, as always. I got the lovely Monica from our Paranormal World, of course, with me. Go subscribe to Monica. If you're new, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Texas Front Porch, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, Donnie Joe Says Stuff, Paranormal, Paul Truth, or Tinfoil. I think that covers it. I want to thank everybody, of course, really briefly for buying my books. Again, found on Amazon. Simply type Bigfoot Michigan Rob in your Amazon browser. Leave a review, everybody. Leave a review. It does help promote book sales. I'm running a special promotion for the next 3 months. You can actually go into Amazon and you can read some of the chapters for free. Yeah. Then if you like it, go ahead and buy it. Something new I'm trying to, promote it out a little more. So thanks for that. That's about it. Of course, the super chat's open, a great way to help support what we all do around here. Thank you for that. You, everybody, can become a BMR pirate. Mateys. Join today, join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view, of course. Thanks for that in advance. Donations, not expected, always appreciated. And with that being said, I think that just about covers all the business. And I'm going to bring up Miss Rollins. Hello.
Hello.
You did a quick change, I see.
Oh, I just put something on over.
There you go. Well, quick enough. I thought something paranormal happened. I looked down. Where is Monica? She disappeared.
Then she's there again.
And then she's there again. So how's it going?
Good. Just coming back from vacation.
Yeah, you and your many vacations, Monica.
I don't take that many vacations.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, no, well.
I wish I did. That'd be nice.
I really haven't taken a vacation in a while. I just don't know because I've been. Thanks, Larry.
Yay, Larry.
What a way to start the show. He gifted 5 new pirates. Arr!
All right.
Larry. 5 new pirates. Thanks so much to Larry Sharp.
5 less people to walk the plank.
5 less. That's right. Larry's not walking the plank. That's for sure. Thanks, Larry. Yeah. I really haven't taken a vacation. Like, yeah, sure. I guess when the conference comes up, I'll be gone maybe 5 or 6 days, and that's going to be.
Yeah, but is that really a vacation? I mean, we're working.
It's not a vacation. It's just I'm leaving my house for like almost a week. We'll be working, but I really haven't been anywhere in a long time. I've seen a lot of the Caribbean, how you want to verbalize it, a lot. Beautiful. I love it. Huh?
I don't like hot.
I don't like hot. Well, the heat that I find there, it's a little different than Michigan. I mean, Michigan's always sweltering humid. Some parts of the Caribbean, like Florida, no, I don't consider the Florida, the Keys or Miami really a vacation. I've been there twice in my life, but I like it. My favorite place I went to though was the Cayman Islands,
Okay.
and it was probably 80 degrees, a nice breeze off the ocean,
Oh, that's
and
nice.
like you were telling me backstage about your little trek to the Rio River, was it? I'm sorry,
Frio.
Frio. Very clear. I went out on a
Mhm.
glass bottom boat in the Cayman Islands, and I must tell you, you could literally see like I don't know, 50 feet, 90 feet down, and it's like just like the pictures, emerald green water, greens and blues, and it was probably the nicest place I've been in the Caribbean, and probably one of the most expensive places.
Oh, really?
You know, I was out on the beach, and I was with this girlfriend at the time of mine, and we were out there, and I ordered 2 drinks and just a plate of fries. Something just, whatever.
And
$38 for 2 beers and a plate of fries. I'm like, okay.
jeez.
Do you take gold chips? Yeah, I'm just kidding, but yeah, I was like, holy cow. Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. Kelly is, of course. Hi, Rob, Monica, and everybody else. I love Kelly, a great supporter of the show. Canada's finest, Kelly Sandiford. Thanks, Kelly. So yeah, of course, I knew it was going to be some money, but it is what it is when you go on vacation. So, but that was beautiful. I would definitely go back.
Mm-hmm.
And one other time, I did the cruise. You ever done a cruise, Monica? I tell you what, we did a big family event several years ago, and we went on a cruise, again, Caribbean. The best, I almost, and I don't like an itinerary,
I
because
don't either. I want to do stuff on my own time.
and on the cruise, you could eat dinner 3 different times for the dinner. Of course, it was all inclusive, with the exception, of course, the bar.
Of course.
Drinks were included though at the dinner, and that was it, right? Lunch, you're on your own, and they had several restaurants on the cruise ship. Now, I must tell you, I would never go on a cruise again because of recent events that have unfolded over the last several years, and it's just too many people, Monica.
Yeah. See, the videos that I see,
Yeah,
specifically of the Caribbean cruises,
yeah,
or the ones that port in Mexico. I don't know if I don't think that's considered Caribbean, but you know what I mean, like the tropical destinations.
yes.
No, thank you. No, thank you. None of that looks like a good time to me. I don't like being around a ton of people I don't know. I don't like being around a ton of drunk people
That
I
you
don't
don't
know
know.
that are just obnoxious. They're there thinking about only themselves from the videos I've seen it. And,
Yeah.
It looks like a trailer park on water to me, and I'm not interested in that.
Well, I will tell you what, I wasn't even fond of it in the beginning, but I said, yeah, I never did it, and it was a family thing, and there was, aunts, uncles, cousins, so a once in a lifetime event. I won't do it again. I tell you, the best time that I had is when we went into Port of Call,
Mhm.
because but you have to be back at the ship. I think we went to Mexico. Was one of the ports of calls, and I can't remember what the actual the name of the place we were in Mexico, right? It wasn't Cabo, it wasn't it wasn't Cancun, it was somewhere else, but whatever, regardless. So we get off, the ship docked maybe 8 in the morning, so right around 9 or 10, I got off the ship and took a barge in. Now, first of all, the captain of the barge must have been drunk, because
Great.
he hit the dock.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Hit the dock, and everybody literally, we all jolted forward. One person, Monica, hit a bar on the barge and broke his arm.
Lawsuit.
Yeah. And so, long story short, we got off and we went to this place. It was called not Carlos and Charlie's. It was the
Like Senior Frogs or something.
yes, Senior Frog. Thank you. Yep, it was. And it was interesting. They had these drinks that they had in like a big like flask, and it had a glass straw, and the girl or the waiter or whoever it was would blow into it as stream, and they would fire it into your mouth from 4 feet away, and you would open your mouth and try to catch it and guzzle as much as you could. Of course, girl BMR was wearing a white shirt. Yeah,
Why not? What t-shirt
yeah.
contest?
Yeah, and it was all drenched in this fruity, different colors.
Sticky. I bet that was fun.
Yeah, and then but okay, fine. And then a little later in the evening, we wanted to go to an authentic seafood place. So we got
Okay.
So there's about 6 of us, and we all cram into this little taxi.
Yeah.
Like the what do you call it? The love bug? Those little bugs.
Yeah, like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Guy didn't speak English. So I kind of speak. I can't speak a little Espanol, and I said, I forgot what the seafood term is, but I got the point across. We wanted to eat some lobster.
Right.
So I should have known better. We go to this, and this was like in the hood. Okay.
You didn't even know where you were going. You just told the cab driver.
Yeah, and he took us on a Mexican cab ride. Yeah, that's what it was, Monica. Mexican cab ride.
You'd roll up to his tia's house or something.
Yeah. Well, it took us to this dilapidated restaurant. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you this. He drops us all off.
Laughed and rode away.
I said, dos hours, come back, blah, blah, blah,
Dos
whatever.
hours,
yeah. And takes off. As we're approaching the restaurant, I'm in the front going forward, and everyone's following kind of paralleling me or whatever. As soon as I get to the stairs of this kind of shady looking restaurant, there's a dead dog.
Oh.
At the top of the staircase.
Poor thing.
Must have been there for forever. And we're looking around like, do we venture in? And I'm like, well, yeah, let's just do it. I mean, we're here.
Just step over the dead dog.
Stepped around it, stepped over it. Yep. Hey, Delta Dog. Speaking of dogs, hello to everybody coming in chat. My vlog, Sonny, Diane, Andres, all you guys, Gary Spikes. So, Moggs, hello, Moggs, Roger. So, now the outside of this place was a dump. Now we went inside though, and it was very nice inside, very much quite the opposite of the exterior. So we felt a little better, and we get in, and we all want to get lobster. And I'm asking what the lobster was like. They said, I quote you, as big as dogs. I'm an English-speaking person. Oh, they're as big as dogs, senor. I'm like,
what kind of dog?
I said, just like the one. I said, just like the one outside, just like the one outside on the top of the staircase. Oh no, we've been meaning to get that out of here. Okay. Well.
Oh, you've been meaning to. Okay, thanks.
So I get in and I ask where the bathroom is, El Baño, right?
Sure.
So I go in. It's kind of weird because inside the restroom was okay, Monica, but there was all these cases of beer lined up in the bathroom from the ceiling down to the floor, all warm and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh boy. And then I kind of walk around in the bathroom to wash my hands, and I seen this entrance that is a staircase. Now I'm pretty adventurous, so I go down the staircase. Get to the bottom of the staircase inside this restaurant where we're dropped off at. Dead dog outside, everything else. Cases of beer in the restroom.
Mm.
And it's like a cavern, and there's all these homeless people living down there.
Underground?
Yes, underneath the restaurant.
Okay.
And they're kind of looking at me like in a daze, in a fog.
And there's just an open entry into the restaurant.
When you get inside, it's from the bathroom. It's from the bathroom. Yeah. So again, I'm in the bathroom. I seen it right around the area of the staircase, and I just venture it down. I'm being adventurous. I'm on vacation.
Sure, you do
Yeah,
get
and it was,
stories
hey,
from not going down this creepy staircase, right?
yeah, and then I see these weird people. I mean, okay, not weird, but homeless, and they're just kind of looking at me like not really paying me no mind. It's almost like they're
That's good.
used to it. Yeah. Danny State Zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Shut.
Mog says, I think I've seen this movie. Well, I tell you, it was kind of the movie. So I was kind of freaked out. And I go back, I turn around, I go back up the stairs. We go sit down and we stayed. I ordered the dinner. And long story short, food was spectacular. I mean, it was like, I'm thinking, wow, we really are in a dump, but the food was great.
I'd be afraid to eat it.
Hey, you know what?
Well, I don't think that seafood food poisoning, which is the worst of the food poisonings, on a boat would be really great.
That would be, oh yeah, God, can't think about that, right? But I agree with you. I didn't make mention of what I found. I didn't mention the beer in the bathroom. I didn't mention the weird people in the basement underneath.
Shut in the cellar.
Yeah, and you gotta remember, we were with some girls, and the guys probably didn't care. Plus, we already were pretty much tied on. You know, we had tied one on pretty well. Food was fantastic. Now we're trying to salvage a cab, and we've got 22 minutes or so before we can get back.
Oh,
or miss our ship.
Right.
And they take off without you.
Yeah.
We missed the ship.
Did you have to fly to the next port?
We were stuck on there. Yeah. They sent out, we stayed there another 6 or 7 hours, and they sent out an actually like a schooner that picked us up and took us to the ship.
Okay.
Which was now docking somewhere else, which is the only reason you can't do it when you're at sea, right? So we lucked out, but the charge that I got on my credit card when I got home for that schooner ride back for missing that was more than the entire trip.
Hefty. Yeah.
It was hefty. So that was my experience on the cruise, my little excursion in some offbeat bar in Mexico, and needless to say, a great story to retell, but yeah, I would not want to experience that today anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the tropical ports are not my cup of tea. I mean, I would do an Alaskan cruise because that looks like a bunch of old people, and I don't feel like they're going to be like stomping around on the deck giving me a hard time. All right. Or I do a Viking River cruise, and I'm actually considering doing a Viking cruise.
Ooh, yeah, I've seen those advertised. They look pretty cool. Is the Alaskan one?
Well, no, it's not Alaska. It's Europe. They're European river, and I think they have Mediterranean cruises as well. But Viking, and I just found out about Cunard, which is a British sailing, like a cruise ship, and they're not having the crazy parties on the deck. And I mean, if that's your scene, if you want to go on a boat and just drink and party, I get it. Like, that's just not my thing.
Well, back in the day, a long time ago, yeah, that was kind of the scene, was hang out and party. But now that I'm a little older, I like to, have a little party, but I like to see the sights and take it in fully and remember a lot of
I'm too old for that. Like when I was I get it. When I was in my 20s, that would have been the thing to do, right? Yeah. Get that. Totally get that. That's not my scene anymore. I'm not interested in that.
No, today I'm not. I think I was in my 40s when this happened, so I was still getting close to getting a little mature. But again, this was the family thing. Had a good time nonetheless. Won't do the cruise scene again. Kind of done with the Caribbean overall, and don't know. So I haven't been on a vacation maybe 2 years. So, and again, the conference isn't a vacation. Yeah, I just have. I've been busy and this, that, and the other, and things happen, but that's okay. Because I'm looking
when I go down to the Frio next year, because let me tell you, the Frio River I don't know if that's considered South Central Texas. Like it's on the edge of the hill country, way south of here. It took me 7 hours to get there from my house, and it is so beautiful. We're going to go there every year. We'll find a place, and probably not the place I went to because again, I don't like a bunch of loud drunk people I don't know. So I found some cabins that have their own private stretch of river, so I don't have to, people floating down is one thing. Idiots on the beach is another. If I have private riverfront, I don't have to worry about idiots on the beach, right? So we're going to go down next year, and I'm going to see if Tex wants to go, because Tex loves scuba diving and snorkeling and all the water sports. So we'll get a big old house, and you can certainly come join us.
Yeah, I'll put that back. Yeah, just remind me. And Keith says BMR just do a day trip up north. Yeah, that'd be cool. I in fact, I'd like to do that here in the fall, because it's very pretty up north, right around September, October-ish. Just go up north over the bridge, which would be cool. Because I haven't been back there. I haven't been there in a long time either. Yeah, my last 2 years I haven't done too much. So yeah, something might be coming up.
You just gotta make up for time.
That's all it is. Make up.
You got to take time for yourself, Robbie.
Yes, Monica. Thank you. I do. I'm. I don't like to say, because everyone says this, not to sound cliche, but it's almost like I need 38 hours in a day lately. Lately, especially over the last couple of years. But it is what it is.
You need a vacation where you don't need a vacation from your vacation.
Yes, absolutely. That's the perfect way to point. That's the perfect explanation. That is definitely what I need, because although Missouri's been a lot of fun, but we'll be working, Thursday will probably be fun, but then we'll be working that Friday and Saturday. And then,
I just don't feel like anywhere in Missouri is a real vacation.
Well, Missouri's not Missouri in general is not a destination for vacation. No. So it's the least one of the, might as well go to Ohio then.
Yeah. I'm going to go to Iowa. Sit in a cornfield.
Yeah, I tell you, the places in Michigan, in the United States, that are vacation spots would be like Alaska, perhaps. I guess I don't. Maybe California. I've never been to California.
California, yeah, the coast. I mean, it's pretty all around. It just depends on what you want. If you want desert, I recommend Palm Springs. I loved Palm Springs, and I don't like the desert, but I loved Palm Springs.
Okay.
And if you want mountains, you can go to the Sierras, and see the big forest. You can go to Yosemite. Or if you want coastal, I mean, it depends. Do you want craggy, foggy coastline, or do you want bright, sunny coastline? Because up north you get the craggy, foggy. It's clear sometimes, the more dramatic coastline, and down south, you like in San Diego and Santa Barbara, you've got the sun and the flat.
I'm probably sunned out, because I've done the sun gig my entire life, and I think more the northern coastline, and even like the Pacific Northwest, to be honest with you. Although here in Michigan, it's been like the Pacific Northwest. The month of July, we've recorded a record amount of rain, at least where I live. I don't know about Keith, if he saw that on the news. I know Keith's in the chat. He lives in Michigan. July sucks, man. We broke records for rain. That's why my poor garden is drowned. But enough of that.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's just not like it should be. But
mine's scorching.
Yeah, we talked about that. We'll get together with a plan for next year, since I have another new expert to talk to about my gardening. But enough of all that. Thanks to everybody for coming in. Today's show, I didn't know really what to do. I did get there's a couple things I'd like to share, a couple brief stories I get your take on, because I think I did, one is, I got a Bigfoot one I'll do last, and just get your take on that. But a couple of weeks ago, I was on the Brunch show, and I came across this really cool, I was going to save this email I got for like Halloween show, but it was so cool that I just wanted to share it. I'm going to share it here, because you were on vacation or whatever.
Okay.
Or whatever. But it's immaterial, Monica. I'm going to go ahead and get your take. It's kind of weird. We can break it down. Again, thanks to everybody for coming on in. And yeah, let me get on with this and tell this a little bit. And this is from some guy. His name Franklin. Okay, here we go. This is the right. I got so many in my head, right? Yeah. Okay. Franklin and his wife Terry, they bought this older style New England cottage. I think it was the year 2021, and they contracted a company to do some remodeling. So when these workers started on the renovations, they found beneath the floorboards of the lower level, they found a fragmented skeleton of which appeared to be human. That's for doing the renovations, right? And then, so the worker, the leader of the construction crew, went to the owner and said of the house and says, "Hey, I'm going to bring this to your attention. Look what I found." So this guy and his wife, Franklin is the name of the man, Terry is the wife. So when Franklin tells his wife, Terry, they were somewhat disturbed at the finding. And so they did start doing some research on this property, but they just came up empty, couldn't find anything that was weird or out of the sorts. So, but during this renovation of this entire house, and of course, the skeleton was found in the lower level, several of the workers, the contracted workers, part of this guy's crew, left the job site and refused to come back there for some reason. Okay. And but the work continued on. This husband and wife, this is their retirement home or whatever it was. And they said, well, try to get a bigger crew, do what you got to do, but I want the work done that I contracted to do and so forth. So, in fact, he goes on to say, Rob, my wife and I were not spooked. We pretty much saved up their life savings to get this retirement place. And it was very beautiful. It was right off of the shoreline of the Atlantic Ocean in New England. And I think he made mention it was, of course, Boston. So the work was completed about 6 months later. So it was a big undertaking, 6 months. I guess that's relatively big. For me, that would be big. I'd be like, oh my God, I thought it would be 6 weeks, not 6 months, because I'm always, whatever. But so after the work is done, they're settled in, and a couple months go by, and then this Franklin and this Terry, they started noticing shadows in their house. And he goes on that later on, they started hearing, along with these shadows, they started hearing voices. He goes, hey, Rob, and these voices, they were of course spooky, but they seemed like they were under some sort of duress. And it was like multiple voices, different pitches, such, right? Different sounds. He goes on to say that later one night, a ghostly image appeared outside of their fireplace. I guess, this Franklin and this Terry, they're sitting around the fireplace, and a kind of a ghostly apparition kind of appeared floating about the fireplace. And then he says it was so odd and eerie. First, he says, me and my wife were kind of freaking out. And what was even more freaky is, he says, audibly, not mind speak or telepathy, audibly it says something to the effect that take the bones. First of all, here's the weird thing, Monica, and everyone listening. In the very beginning, on set 6 months prior, how they found the bones. So the contractor asked, well, what to do with these things? And the couple had them, they said, leave them.
What?
Keep them buried in the house. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Nobody called the cops. Nobody called.
Hey, listen. I don't know. No, well, this is what he sent me. And, which was a great question, of course. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, you would think call the cops. That's the first thing I would do.
Yeah.
So, hey, look.
I stumbled onto like a serial killer's house or something.
Yeah. So, but again, he said he did investigations and came up empty. And maybe that was a part of it, Monica. I don't know, but it is what it is.
Okay.
So, but this audible voice that emanates from this ghostly apparition outside the fireplace, again, an audible tone said, and he says, I remember this distinctly. It says, take the bones to the ocean to set him free.
Okay.
Can you imagine hearing that? I mean, okay, whatever. And so now this husband and wife, Franklin and Terry, they're like, holy cow. Are they referring to what, is
Or
buried,
whatever
we left
bones.
buried or whatever? Right.
Yeah.
So this dude Franklin goes on to say that him and his wife, they're frozen. They're frozen in their living room,
Sure.
staring into the flickering of the firelight and this like apparition kind of prancing about, right? So, and he says, Rob, it was very funny because this apparition, it then just kind of dissipated. But then he says, when he and his wife, Terry, were breathing in, it was almost like the humidity of the room, it got very damp. And when they breathed in, it was hard to breathe. Like their lungs were being filled with like water. Okay. But he says dampness, if you will. And he says, and they both were gasping for air. Then they regained their breath. And then all of a sudden, again, the apparition does not reappear or anything like that. But again, they heard audibly, the ocean remembers. The ocean's tide will carry me home. So at this point, Mike, I don't know about you. I'm thinking, I really don't know what I would do at this point. I mean, we can discuss it in a minute. When I'm done, I'm almost done. So you get this weird occurrence. And this whole thing from the beginning is really pretty weird to begin with, as I think I can tell. So it said, so this guy goes on to say it took days for he and the wife to work up the courage to return to the bottom. And I guess they start excavating the bones. I guess they went and did whatever. I don't know if they brought the contractor back or whatever, but they started digging up the bones. So I guess they tore up the section of the basement or the lower level of the house. I don't know if it's a basement, to be sure. So they gather the fragmented bones and their remains, and he says he put it in this like really old like leather satchel or some sort of duffel bag and put it all in this bag. During this time, the husband and wife were down there, and they really weren't speaking. They were just intent on getting this done. I think they were more freaked out than anything. And he says he remembers that his wife, Terry, lit some candle. And she said like a little prayer or whatever, right? And so that was that. So they recouped the bones, put them in this satchel or whatever you want to call it, duffel bag. And he says, Rob, right before the sunrise, they went out to the ocean because they were maybe a mile and a half off. So they took a trek down to the ocean. And at the edge of the surf, he says, hey, Rob, we took the satchel, the wife and I. And he says it was odd because as he was getting closer to the ocean, he felt that the satchel of the bag, he says, it feels like it got heavier, which he found to be very odd. But then he says, now he has to retract that, he tells me, but it wasn't like a physical heaviness in the bag, but he felt an emotional heaviness on himself. Okay. As he grew closer to the ocean. So this Franklin and this Terry, they get to the crest of the waves and they release the satchel, and the ocean current comes in, the tide comes in, and it takes it out to the ocean, and they watch it as it drifts away, and it's gone into the sea. He says for a brief moment, his senses were really heightened, enhanced. He says he smelt the salt water even more easily than before. It was very pronounced. And then he says in the distance, he thinks he and the wife both see what they think to be the apparition that was in their home at the fireplace, kind of wavering atop the crests of the waves and kind of dissipated into the ocean. He gets back to his house, and after that, he says days went on, weeks went by. Again, there was no apparition. There was no sighting of this apparition at the fireplace, and everything went back to being normal. And he says, Rob, in a strange way, I think we did a good deed, and we just released this, whatever happened to this person. We think we released it and set it free or helped it cross over, whatever the terminology is. I really don't know. But yeah, that's this is what this guy sent me some time back. And I wasn't going to really report that until maybe Halloween time, because it's kind of Halloweenish, but I did it already on the Blonde Show. And I just want to get your take on that, because the first thing that thought in my mind was, yeah, if this is a murder, you better call the police so you can wash your hands free of it, right?
I hope that some family, maybe could have gotten closure, whether it was a murder or not. I mean, it could just be like somebody disappeared, or, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess if they're buried under a house, it would have been a murder. Like, how did the bones get there? How did the bones get there?
It seems like you'd have to be placed there, would it not?
Right? I mean, how old is the house? Like, is it fairly new? But when you're doing construction on a home, they dig down. Well, if they're doing it right, they're digging down for stability reasons, right? There's foundations. I mean, they do, depending on the age of the house, they do civil work with, the soils. They do soil testing to see, like, do they need to do select fill for heat? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. They don't usually just, walk over and be like, just put a house down on the dirt,
No, I'm sure. No, you're right. I mean, and of course you would know. And the thing is,
so if the bones were there before, my point is, they would have been discovered during the construction. But if it's a very, very old house like my house, they just kind of generally leveled it out, and then pier and beam foundation. Nothing's dug into the dirt on my house. My house is crazy. Okay. So it depends on the age of the house, and the bones. I mean, well, one, how did they get there? Two, why would you not call the cops? The cops are not going to be like, we don't know, just leave them.
Well, no, that's for sure. They're not going to. And I don't think, first of all, if that was me, I'm calling the cops, because I don't think there's any reason for them to be afraid. This is something was discovered well before they've ever been there. Sure. I mean, This is something, if this was a crime.
I mean, even if it wasn't the a university, somebody would be interested in, were those bones Native American bones? Do they need to go back to their original tribe for proper burial? Like, what's going on with their a murder, or they're, not, I guess, but
yeah, and
I'd still call the cops.
The first thing I'm doing, as soon as okay, they save their money. This is their retirement home. I'm gathering. Certainly, it was an older house, right? Sure. I'm thinking from the brand new construction when it was first put up, whatever year or time frame, it was probably they would have found something then, right? If
right, they would have.
So my guess is this house was erected, built. Whoever moved in. Maybe something happened during this time, and then they decided to bury this if something nefarious took place. But then when the guy told me that he did research, he looked up the house, he tried to get as much information as he could, and even I remember
he got as much information as he could without calling the cops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And you're not gonna, I don't think that you can look up a house and see if a crime was ever committed. That's something you'd have to go through local authority.
If there's bodies in the basement, it's not going to be on the news.
No.
Or the bodies wouldn't still be in the basement.
Yeah.
But okay, all of that. I mean, plus what they just left, like, there's a dead body in my basement. You want to go see the bones? It's pretty cool. Little party trick. You want to go look? Who does that?
Nobody. Monica. Okay, number one, call police. Number two, like you're just referring to, no, I don't want you to rebury them. I mean, like a normal person, you're gonna call the authorities.
Get them out. I don't want
this out of here. What would possess a person, Monica? Just leave them there.
Beat the crap out of me. I don't know, because that would not be me. I don't want bones, knowing bones.
I don't think I could sleep at night.
Yeah, I mean, not just that they're there, but just, are they indigenous again? Do they need to be returned to the tribe for proper burial? Is it a murder? Does somebody not know what happened to Great Aunt Gertrude? What? Could it solve something potential? Like, I don't want it there. Somebody take it away, somebody take it away. And
Please. Yeah.
then just throwing them in a duffel bag, that's respectful, and carting them on down to the ocean side. You're like, what? Can you imagine a cop? What's in the bag?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Now I tell you what. Yeah, you gather these bones, put them in a duffel bag. You're at the ocean, and by bad luck, you get pulled over for something stupid like speeding. Hey, what's in the bag? You're going to jail.
Just a skeleton from my basement. I mean,
I had some ghost came out of the fireplace, suggested return us to the ocean. It wants me, whatever, release me.
The Phantom told me to take them back to the ocean. That's what otherwise they'd still be in my basement, officer. I don't know.
I mean, so you can spin this into a comedy. Now the way we're talking, I mean, literally.
But for real, I mean, who does that? All of this is it's a little fantastic.
It is fantastic. And I think, you got to be really out there, right? I mean, you've got to be out there.
They're experiencing this secondhand drowning sensation where they can't breathe, and he's feeling the heaviness, not the physical heaviness, but the emotional drudgery.
It's
almost, if that's where it wants to go, why is it getting heavier?
Well, that's right. It's almost, I was thinking that too, and it's almost to me like, this guy is starting to feel
like America's Jack the Ripper disposable body, man.
But let's take a look at it this way. You're right. Right. Then I just got this thought too about maybe the heaviness, not physically, mentally, or whatever. Maybe this guy was starting to feel some sort of guilt. I mean, this is kind of far out too. We're just, little investigators here trying to dissect this. But maybe he felt guilt, and maybe, and of course, not brought up to me, not brought up to my attention in the email or anything. This is what the story he presented to me. And I just give it how he gives it to me, right? I don't throw my narrative in there. But maybe, though, this place, they saved up for this one specific house, had spent money to remodel it. Maybe he was feeling guilty because maybe he knew something of the past, what had taken place there. I'm just saying.
Darn cops, dude.
Huh?
That'll help you. Call the cops.
Yeah, that would relieve my mind, just calling the cops. I mean,
and your solution is to put the bones
back
in a duffel bag.
Oh yeah, put them first.
Dump them in the ocean.
Yeah, that's the solution. The first off, bury them in my house. Keep them in my house.
In a park before and shove them in a duffel bag. Can you imagine a scuba diver like, oh, what's in here?
Man,
thinking he found a freak. Maybe someday a diver out there is gonna come across a duffel bag with some crusty bones in it, and he'll solve the murder because the homeowner didn't want to be bothered with it.
Right? Come on, Scott. This is funny. Gets pulled over by the cops, I assume. Got a damn femur in the glove box or whatever. Yeah, come on. Hey, yeah, I don't know.
Your final resting place is a freaking Academy Sports duffel bag at the bottom of the ocean. How rude.
Yeah, it's
I'm not buying this story.
Hey, listen, I'm not even. When people send me stories, Monica, I do present them, whether I believe them or not.
It's a great story, but there's a lot of holes in it. Like you're the one that put the bones there. You are just a callous SOB who just does not care.
And you know what, Monica? I'm thinking maybe this story, albeit convoluted, but maybe though, hey, think about it this way. Maybe this guy did something, and maybe not even related to this, right? But he felt in his way of expression to relieve guilt, tells a story. Because I know a lot of people that they keep these stories repressed if you had an experience with whatever it is.
Sure.
And I remember when I had my experience, I really kept it to myself for a long
Well, I
time.
did too. I get
And
it.
yourself, and when you tell us something that happened to you, for me, it's like a shoulder gets the weight gets taken off your shoulders. Now, of course, if it's involving murder, heaven forbid, I don't think that weight ever goes away. But maybe this was just this guy's way of maybe trying to admit or confess to something in anonymity, but maybe
You like parlays it into this goofy story
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps. I mean, I don't know. I can't think and get into the mind of other people. I should have been a psychiatrist. That'd have been interesting, but
I think that would be interesting. Like a criminal psychologist.
yes,
would
or
be cool.
forensic investigator, or
Yes.
criminal psychiatrist, or an FBI. Like the FBI.
I did want to get into the FBI.
I almost got into that, and the food and tobacco. They were courting me in college, and I said, "No, my sight is set on something else." Looking back,
I want to own and operate a bar.
Yeah, I was never. Of course, that was not my intentions, Monica.
I know. I'm teasing you.
I know you're teasing. I wanted to be a broadcaster. My dad says that's so hard to break into. Get something that was a little more stable. The business field, folks, is not stable.
What my father told. So we had to go to family therapy because I grew up in California. So you had to go to family therapy. And during one of the sessions, the therapist asked my dad, "What would you like to see your daughter do as a profession?" You know what he said? I think she'd be a cool travel agent. Or I was like, aim high, Dad, aim high. I was like, that's insulting.
Travel agent.
My scores are off the chart. You want me to be a travel agent? That's sure.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I love my dad. He was more conservative, unlike my personality. I'm not conservative. It's like, just pick something safe. Now, my scores weren't quite high enough because I did want to go into the medical. I did, believe it or not, want to be a doctor. Man, when I was a little kid, even in my high school, I did. In high school, I wanted to be a surgeon. I did, but then I discovered that. I mean, I'm not a dummy. I did get into U of M, but the thing is, mathematics and me just don't jive. And the more research I put into it, though, you really don't need math as a doctor. You just don't.
You do.
Well, not for certain things. So.
You do for medication.
Yeah, but you don't have to know. But you don't need to know trigonometry for that, or geometry, do you?
Trig? I don't think you need trig. I'm pretty sure you don't need geometry, but
I think maybe calculus.
I don't know. For GP, probably not. You do need math for dosing.
For setting doses, but that's and today you could probably plug that into a computer thing now. But anyway, that's off the point. But I sucked at math, so yeah, I knew I couldn't get into that. So I want to be a broadcaster, journalist, newspaper reporter. Oh no, you can't do that. My dad tells me this. You'll be looking for a job your entire life. My dad said computer science, and you know what? Dang it.
Smart of him.
That was smart of him. I said, that's so boring. What's a computer, by the way? We didn't have computers. He says, I guarantee you when you're 50 years old, be a millionaire. You won't have to work another day in your life. And he was right about that one. I took one class in computer science in college, and it wasn't for me. It was just boring.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my dad's other plan was that I join the Army and I go to the Language Institute in Monterey, get in there. Just magically, I guess. And because I have a knack for, I learn languages quickly, apparently. He thought. He thought. And yeah, he had this whole future in the military worked out for me. And I was not about boot camp.
No, right.
I would not have made it. I feel like I would not have made it.
Yeah, no, you don't strike me as an going through boot camp type of gal. No.
Somebody screaming at me. I was so sensitive back then. Like people raising their voice at me made me cry when I was young.
Oh wow, well, yeah.
Like
I
I
mean,
really don't think I would have been good at boot camp.
yeah, I didn't like that much either growing up. I mean, but I will say that well, anyways, so anyway, yeah,
So the long story short with this story is call the cops and
yeah,
maybe
right.
don't dump the murder evidence in the ocean in a duffel bag and make yourself look suspicious when they find your fingerprints on it later on.
Yeah,
Or your hair or something else.
that's the perfect take on that one. We're gonna put that one to bed. But I thought it was interesting, and I knew you would get a kick out of it because it was kind of ridiculous. Thanks to everybody for coming in today. But I do have a Bigfoot one, which is pretty cool, I think. And it kind of reminds me of a few things that we've talked about in the past. And I did want to go over this. And this is from a person, Roger, I guess. He goes, Rob, I make up my name. My name is Roger in this email. And I'm just read this right quick. He goes on to tell me that he has been taking his family to the same camping area in Salt Fork, Ohio. So this takes place in Salt Fork, Ohio. Yes, and I've known many people that do research here.
Beautiful there.
Beautiful. I've heard many, and I have heard accounts of Bigfoot in this area and other cryptids.
Yeah, there's ghosts there too.
There's conferences there, ghost story. Yes, so this kind of and I do find much like Michigan, Ohio, it's pretty. It's got it's a pretty strange place if you're talking cryptids. I found, so he goes on to tell me that this campsite he used to go to in Salt Fork over several years. He was brought up from his father, and he brought up his son, and this, that, and the other. And every time he went camping, all these campsites, Monica, and everybody listening, was all within like a 5-mile radius of each other over the years. So they went from area to area, but all within the same proximity. And so this guy Roger says, hey, Rob, I've always heard the stories about Bigfoot throughout my life growing up. He says, actually, in fact, in Salt Fork, it always seemed like I came across other campers and people out there and some Bigfoot people that would always talk about accounts of Bigfoot in this area. And again, I know a lot of people in the research area that do actually research Salt Fork. So I had a guest on not too long ago. So, and of course goes on, he was telling me in this email, yeah, there's even the conferences, this, that, and the other. We all know that. So he goes on and he says that his youngest son at the time was approaching, and this is several years ago, maybe 8-9 years ago, but he does say that his son was approaching the age of 13 years old, and he listened to all these stories growing up camping, and he became a very enthusiastic and very much wanted to believe in these stories about Bigfoot. So this young kid, as I can expect, right, always asking his dad about Bigfoot, this, that, and the other. We got to start looking for Bigfoot, Dad, when we go camping. You hear the stories, Dad, all this stuff. He's an excitable young kid. So again, Roger, being the good dad that he is, always listened to his son. And the father, Roger, would tell his son that despite he himself, the dad, not really believing, he personally never came across anything in all of his years that even remotely was close to any of the evidence that Bigfooters put out there. He never seen any of this. So his son grew more and more interested in this, and as the father would tell him, hey, look, maybe Bigfoot exists. Keep an open mind, and hey, I'm not mad at you. It is what it is. So anyways, he goes, Rob, it happens. One night we happen to be in the Salt Fork Ranch campsite, and all of a sudden he says, Rob, no kidding, I start hearing these strange vocalizations that rang out from the woods, and I'm with my son. And then Roger, the father, says, well, at first I thought maybe it was coyotes or something, right? Maybe an owl. But he says, Rob, this sound was a little bit different. He says it started low and kind of guttural. But then he says as the sounds grew on, they grew just a little bit louder. And they grew almost like human-like, right? Kind of sounded like had a human element to them. He says, especially like in the pitch or whatever. But he says, but boy, this was much too powerful, to be like a human being. It was just deep, guttural, and loud and expansive. So, and he says, yeah, it's nothing I could identify. And he says, Rob, I'll be honest with you, it kind of creeped me out. And I started thinking, wow, maybe is this a Bigfoot? He doesn't really know, right? But now his wheels are spinning about all the stories to the area. So he says, yeah. So my son hears this, and he says he tugs on his sleeve or whatever, on his shoulder, whatever he does, and says, "Hey, Dad, did you hear that? Is that like Bigfoot?" And he's all excited. So he says, it's nighttime. This Roger says it was nighttime. He's talking to his son, and he had a lantern on. Then he turned down his lantern or his flashlight, whatever light he was using. He turned it down, and he told his son just to be quiet, just sit here and just be quiet and listen. So again, he says, "Hey, Rob, this sound came again, but the sound now got much closer. It sounded like it was closer." Okay. Roger says the thing that really chilled me was that the sound itself, it was the only thing he heard. Then he noticed that he didn't hear anything else surrounding him. Now, of course, Monica, we always hear these stories about these cryptids, right? Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, the forest gets deathly quiet, right? And again, this is the same instance with this man, Roger, as he's telling me this. Everything got really quiet. No wind, no movement, just these human-like howls. So Roger goes on to tell me, so he really doesn't remember. It kind of dissipated. Then he really doesn't remember falling asleep that night. And then he says, Rob, I can just remember lying. I think I was sleeping, but I kept waking up, lying awake, and just trying to put together what I heard. He says he was kind of scared because at this time he never took a weapon or a rifle or anything with them into the forest at this part of the Salt Fork because he never felt danger, even with wildlife, right, or predators. Don't really know what the predators would be in Salt Fork. I looked that up.
Bears.
Bear. Okay. So, well, that's the predator. So he says he did have a hatchet that he always brought along to chop up wood. So he just remembers having his hand around this hatchet, clutching it very tightly. And he says during the night, he tried to listen again for the sounds, but he also remembers some stories about Bigfoot. He remembers trying to listen, right, for maybe crackling of the foliage or the leaves, any bipedal walking or movement. He was just trying to be very astute. So really didn't get much sleep. He says the morning rolls in. He gets up and he looks around and he finds no signs of animals, no broken branches, no footprints, nothing. So his son Ricky, I guess his name's Ricky, I just remember. Ricky, the young kid, goes, he tells his dad now, okay, after all this is said and done, the next morning that he said he thought he saw a tall figure beyond, the firelight. And the dad says, Ricky, you're making that up. It was probably just your imagination. There was nothing there, but we did hear the sounds, and they both were in agreement with that. So he says, so this was some time ago. And then he says, Rob, but since then, this guy Roger tells me there's something about him just changed. He says that experience, he thought he could shake it off, Monica, and everybody listening, but he says that something changed in him, did something to him where he just felt not quite at ease like all the many years he did when he went to the woods. He says that he started having like these stupid dreams about the woods, he says. He goes on to say things like the dreams where he's running around barefoot in the dark, all around the familiar parts of Salt Fork. And then he seems like the trees were alive, but not alive like we all know them to be alive, but it seems like they captured on an identity or something, right? So he found those dreams to be very odd and very peculiar, and he just was not the same. even though he just heard these sounds, right, Monica? Didn't physically see anything, but he just it got to him. So, but his son Ricky, on the other hand, his fire is fuel. Dad, we gotta keep going back. We gotta look for Bigfoot. And the dad has been very reluctant. So he doesn't tell his son that he's really at odds now with going back, but because of his son, the love for his son, and he says, well, I just got to go back and do this. So about a year after this incident passed, he takes his son back into the similar area and they go camping. In fact, I remember he says this was just last year, in the year of 2024. And then he goes on to say, yeah, just about the same location, same area. And he says, okay, so they're there about 3 or 4 days and nothing, no sounds, no nothing. And so this Roger says, hey, Rob, I start to feel more at ease. And he says, I actually started laughing it off like, wow, I let that experience last year and these dreams get to me. So he started getting back to his old self. And in fact, didn't even mind talking about Bigfoot with his son anymore. And he says about the 4th or 5th day, it was nighttime. And he says he's with his son and they're right back at the fire and they're looking out into the tree line. And they, you hear that? Oh, okay. Wow. I hear some gurgling in the background. Weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the bones coming back.
Oh my gosh, there's something. I got. It's very weird. Very weird. Never had this experience before, but it's probably a connection. I don't know. Anyways, I'll replay later. So sees a multiple set of eyes now, like eye shine. Right? He says, "Hey, Rob, they were very low to the ground at first, and then all of a sudden he says, Rob, I noticed the eyes they're rising." Yeah, I keep hearing that. This is like strange. I'm not saying it's paranormal, Monica, but it's just very weird.
It's only on your end. I'm not.
Yeah, see, I'm hearing it through my. Wow.
I don't have headphones on, so I can't hear as well.
No. I don't think it's anything weird, everybody. It's just odd. But anyway, so on with the story. So he sees multiple sets of eyes low to the ground, then he start rising up. Okay. So, and then he's looking and there's different sets and they're getting higher and higher. And then he says, Rob, no kidding. All of a sudden these figures kind of step out from the tree line some distance away. And he says from the distance, he saw these dark type like shadows that from in back of the fire, kind of like silhouettes of huge beings or whatever. Guys think, oh my gosh, is this really kind of Bigfoot? He doesn't really know. And then he says these eyes, you remember his eyes very distinctly. They're like oval, very big. And he says they were like amber. They were amber colored eye. And they were like glowing very brightly in the distance at the tree line. He says, man, it was so weird, Rob. So the son grabs his dad by the arm and they're both kind of in a way a little bit scared because they just don't know what this is. They can distinctly see the eye shine and different sets of 4 or 5 of these things in the distance. And they were just very silent. And he says, Rob, they were just peering in and watching from what he can gather. And then he says, towards the end of this is him. And he says, Rob, they were there for quite a while. He says, Rob, no, I have no night vision. I can't make it out. Just the naked eye, just looking at these. And this went on for several minutes, he said. Then he says, all of a sudden, one of them lets out a low, not aggressive, right, but a rumbling kind of growl that reminded him of the previous year with the voice, right? But he says it was very deep, very pronounced. And he says he felt like it wasn't threatening, but he did kind of get the premonition or the intuition that it was maybe a warning that, get out of here type of thing. Not very welcoming, I should say. So
duly noted. I'd pack.
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, I'd probably hang out a little while longer, Monica. But anyway, at least in the morning. So anyway, this Roger, he stood there, not sure what to do. He says he realizes now, as I said earlier, the very for all these years going to Salt Fork, he never brought a weapon, maybe a machete or the axe to cut wood. And he says this was the first time ever that he brought a rifle just in case. And he realizes that it's in his tent and he doesn't really know what to do if he should get it. He says something told me no, leave it there, which I would advise. Maybe get it and have it on you, but don't do anything else with it unless something further arises, right? So stood there, rifles inside the tent. His son is kind of scared, and this kid is really ambitious, but he's kind of feeling a little weird, scared. So he says, Rob, all of a sudden, as quickly as they appeared, stood there for several minutes without any sound. They simply the eye shine kind of faded out. And that was that. He says the next morning he gets up with his son, Dad, we got to go out there toward that tree line, look for evidence. Maybe that was Bigfoot. So the dad reluctantly goes with his son, yes, takes his rifle with him, goes out to the tree line. He says, Rob, I found nothing, no footprints, no broken branches, nothing at all. He says, yeah, so I really haven't spoke much about that night. He says, Rob, I personally will go with my son occasionally, but now he's a little bit older. And his son is just totally is into Bigfoot. He likes going back and now he takes notes. He writes a journal. He's written, he's drawn pictures of what him and his dad allegedly saw. And he's big time. He's gung ho. So, and the son told Dad, they're not here to hurt us. That was kind of a good experience, right? I guess it kind of was, Monica. But then Roger says, in closing, all I know is this. My dreams have come back. They're a little bit differently. He goes, Rob, remember how I had the dream about running barefoot in the forest? He says, he goes, I know, Rob, doesn't sound so weird to tell you this. The dream is a little different. I'm still running barefoot in the forest, but it appears to me that I'm running alongside a Bigfoot. Yes, it sounds weird, but I have to throw that in you because that's my dreams today. And now I'm more apprehensive than ever. I root on my son to do what he wants to do, especially when he gets a little bit older to venture out. But he goes, that's my story, signed Roger. Hey, thanks, Moon. My new member, new pirate. Thank you, Moon. So yeah, I thought that was odd story. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories similar to that, Monica. Like you, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, it's interesting. It affected him deeply on a psychological level if he's dreaming about it, for sure.
Yeah.
But I've been in situations like that where he had reason, though. I mean, he had a serious, something happened to him. I had dreams like that just from being on land in this particular area. And I had unnerving dreams about the area for 6 months or a year after leaving it, going back home. And, something happened for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point. You've had, you said, some dreams about your experience.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was in Colorado. I was in Southeast Colorado. And I was in a wilderness area that, you can only drive your car so far. And then you have to either hike in. I don't even know I think pack animals were allowed, but we didn't take the pack animals. And we hiked in another 3 or 4 miles before we came to a river we couldn't cross, right? Because that river was flowing. So the weirdest thing we had was a red light that came into camp one night. We thought it was somebody's headlamp. We thought because we were doing Bigfoot research and we were stationed at various areas on the mountains above this river valley, kind of looking down onto our camp. And I figured one of the researchers called it a night early and didn't tell anybody, and they were coming back into camp with their headlight on red. But when we all reconvened at the appropriate time, It wasn't them. We don't know who there was a red light in our camp. That's the weirdest thing that happened. But the area itself, just that area that we were investigating in, was very unnerving. It was very unnerving. And that's what I mean, I don't know what it was with the land. There's reports of UFOs out of there. There's a lot of weird things that happen in that area. The only thing like I said, that we had was this red light wander through camp that looked like somebody's headlamp. And I guess, it could have been somebody invading our camp. I don't know. But yeah, I had nightmares. And nightmares I had unnerving dreams. Like I woke up feeling very unnerved from the dreams for like 6 months or a year afterwards. So, I mean, I would imagine these are similar to like what this man is experiencing, but he had like reason, like better reason than I did for it. I mean, he had glowing eyes. He had like this growling, speechy thing. Like he had more of a reason to have these types of dreams.
Yeah, there is a reasoning behind that, I think, for him. And of course, for a man that, as you explained earlier, love camping. And we've heard these two similar stories about people that come across something in the forest and they don't go back ever again, which is unfortunate, really.
But it's understandable. I mean, if it affects
it's understandable. And for a person that raised his family, camping in the same area. His son brought him up. His son, very enthusiastic, obviously loves it. And then his son was really catching on with this entire Bigfoot phenomenon, the stories you heard from other campers, and he has an interest. And I'm sure the dad was appeasing him and just thinking it was cool for his son. Hey,
Sure.
But then all of a sudden, to have this experience where he has these dreams and doesn't want to tell his son, but really doesn't want anything to do with the woods. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's all fun and games until you have something that like affects you psychologically.
Yeah.
Like you have an encounter and you can't handle it.
That's so true. And I just find it odd that, what I always find odd about people, though, I mean, about people that have accounts or encounters, they never have one for all these years. And all of a sudden, the more and more they think about it, and in this case, this man has his son that's egging him on to do some research after hearing the stories. Then all of a sudden, he has an experience. Now, who knows what this was? It was definitely something. And as to your point, it was something that affected him. It often makes me wonder, because if it weren't for this guy's son, outside of the stories that he heard, I'm wondering if he ever would have come across anything. Because I do believe that we all, in some weird way, can manifest our own success or experiences. Now, I'm not suggesting you can sit down, I want to see Dogman every night. No, you've seen one. No. But you know what I'm saying, though.
But I think that intention is like a form of vibration, right? In everything's energy. And if you're putting out that, like you're going on a research, you're going to look for these things, you're investigating something like that, you're putting that energy out there. And I think that if something's in the area that's in tune with that, it'll be attracted to you. So you're more likely to have something.
That's a great point, because I never really knew that until I started talking with all you guys and stuff like that and learning. And I never really knew about this whole vibration and frequency thing, the energy that we put off. And I think that I am a believer today, and it's not that I never believed it before. I just never really cared about it.
Yeah.
Thought about it. But I do think you're right. And Keith even said that. Mog's book, Bigfoot on the Brain. Yeah. I think that, your intentions, we always hear that a lot in this field, whatever you want to call what we do. Intentions, vibration, energy. Yes, I think that we exude that into the forest or wherever, and I think we can derive certain things from it. Some more extreme than others, of course, right? So I think there is something true to that.
Yeah.
I do believe in it. And
I do too, obviously.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, we all do. I believe in it for sure now, because I can relate to all the things that's happened to me. Taking out that equation, I guess I was giving something off. because these things are attracted to me. Well, the paranormal is more attracted to me, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're on that frequency, right? You're on that. I mean,
Yeah.
people call it vibes, call it whatever you want. You know,
Yeah.
you're putting out that energy.
Yeah,
And if
I
it's
think
in
so.
line with something in the area, you're gonna see it.
Yeah, there is something to that, and I think that, and again, I think we've all heard this before. I read all these books as a kid growing up, The Power of Positive Thinking. I read that Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which actually is a great book. I've used it throughout business, right? And when I worked at Ford all the time, and it works. There's certain things about that, right? And the one thing though, Monica, which is really weird, and that I have these really vivid dreams, frightening dreams, right? And you've heard several of them, with really creepy stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing that traumatized me the most was when I had my Bigfoot encounter. And it wasn't really so much that what I experienced, even though my personal experience, losing cognizance, black and white filter, my vision, getting yelled at like that. And then, of course, my girlfriend 2 months later passes away. Certainly traumatic.
Sure.
And something I'll certainly never forget. But what's weird, I don't dream about that. I've never dreamt once about
Really?
that incident. I've dreamt about other crazy things, totally unrelated. But not one time in my life have I dreamt that encounter.
That's interesting.
And that is kind of,
But it didn't show up in your dream somehow.
It has not. It has not. I guess that's good. I don't know. I mean, I'm used to it. I tell the story so many times, and it's kind of this 7 year. I mean, it was 2018. I mean, but no, not even once. Not once. In fact, I haven't even dreamt about my girl that passed away in my life ever.
Really?
Which is kind of yeah. No, I haven't.
That happens to me. Like with my son. Like I want to dream about him, right? Because it makes you feel closer to that person.
Yes.
And I don't think I've ever, but maybe one time, had my son in my dreams. And even that one time, it was fleeting. It was not like he was standing there talking to me. He was like in the periphery, and I was actively seeking him out, and I couldn't get to him. But like, I've never had that. And you would think, and in your case as well, you think that you would, dream about them at least once or twice.
Yeah, I can honestly tell you, and I know people claim to have dreams that they forgot about, but I don't typically forget any of my dreams. Oddly, I would remember that, and I've never once dreamt it, never once spoken about it, as ad nauseum for forever, but it's never manifested in any dreams. The dreams I get, as you mostly remember, what I've told you, are always about me being lost somewhere in a familiar area, and I'm lost. I can't get out. I get scared, then it's always somebody from my past that helps me out, right? Or gets me out, except for the dream that I had last year about this guy helping me out of the poker room and ended up being the devil. I told you that one. If I have it, I'll tell you some other time. But yeah, I mean, that's what I get. I'm always lost, boxed in. I'll tell you one quick funny dream about being boxed in. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I'm on the top bunk in my bedroom. And my dad used to always make city chicken. It's on a little skewer, there's it's made up of it's not chicken at all. It's what type of it's like a beef and a pork loin. And he puts it on a stick and he sautés it, and it's very cool gravy juice. Very, very good. So it's very gravy-ish and drippy on a stick, right? Very messy. The first time I started getting these boxed in dreams, which again I get all the time, and you're gonna laugh, but it scared the crap out of me. I was in my top bunk, my brother's in the bottom bunk, and all of a sudden I'm dreaming about the city chicken. And the city chicken all of a sudden started piling up on either side of the walls, the bottom of the floor to the top of the ceiling, and these city chicken skewers are starting to add up and multiply all around the square of my room. And I'm on top of the bunk bed, and they're getting closer and closer to me, starting to box me in, where the city chicken skewers encompass the entire room, and I now can't breathe in my dream. I'm suffocating. And I remember snapping out of it, gasping for air, which I think was just inside my own head. I wasn't gasping for air. Pull one of those, right? It was this
Right.
damn city chicken. And do you know, ever since that dream, I've never had a city chicken again.
You can't eat city chicken.
No.
Okay, that's understandable.
I'm just, hey, I know it's a goofy story, but that was my dream. And this was a young guy.
I've had dreams where I was suffocating, but I woke up and I had like rolled into the pillow or something, like I was literally suffocating.
Oh, well, now that I've heard of before. I told you a story about someone assassinated me, and I felt the bullet pop out of my head in literally real life. And I woke up with sweat coming down my face, and I thought it was blood because I thought I was really shot.
Sure. I saw myself get shot in a dream. I think we talked about that.
We did, yes. And I think I told you I saw myself fall off a cliff, and right before impact, I woke up. So I didn't see myself get splattered, but I did feel myself get assassinated.
You know what I have done before in dreams, because I can lucid dream where I realize I'm dreaming.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, you're in a dream while you're dreaming.
Yes.
So you can control it. And I had either jumped or like a long distance down, like, because sometimes I can fly in my dreams, which is, I think, crazy. Yeah.
Yes, sweet though.
But I either had jumped off a cliff or anyway, I was coming down, right? You'd have that jerking awake kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Well, I started to do that, but I was like, no, I'm dreaming. I know I'm dreaming. And I didn't jerk myself awake. And I went all the way to the ground. Ooh. And I landed, but I didn't choke in my dream. I landed and I was like, oh, you can land. I remember thinking that's cool. You can land, because I realized I was dreaming and I didn't want to wake up.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. I do that too. I've the lucid. I know when I'm dreaming a lot of dreams too. See, I've had, and mine are vivid, much like yours, and they're I've had some cool ones. They're not all my dreams aren't like, I don't dread going to bed. I've had a lot of great dreams. In fact, it's weird. Let me ask you this. I actually can have part 1, part 2, part 3 dreams. I can literally, first of all, I can wake up in the middle of the night with a cool dream, and I wake up and say, I have to take a pee. I'm like, damn it, that was such a great dream. So I go back to bed, and I'm trying to rethink the dream to bring it up. And I've had some success where it continues on.
Right.
And then I'll do like a part 3 the next night. And so, yeah, I've had that happen. I can do that all the time. And
I've had that, where I pick up where I left off in a dream.
Yeah, I've done that many times. In fact, I still have some dreams I remember dreaming years ago that once in a while come back into my brain while I'm sleeping. So, yeah, it's just I do have pretty cool dreams for the most part. But when I have those dreams where I'm in danger, I'm always like that boxed in and lost. Those really, when I wake up, typically, Monica, I don't go back to bed. I just stay up because I just don't want to.
I had one, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was recently. I want to say it was last week. I had a dream that was so real and unnerving that I was afraid to go back to sleep because I didn't want to go back into that dream.
Yeah.
Because it was because usually I can tell I'm dreaming. Or when I wake up, I'm like, oh, that was weird, but it was a dream. I woke up with like this sense, this crazy, like just apprehension, just intuition, apprehension. Yeah.
Yes. I experienced that. Yes.
And I wish I could remember what it was now. I wish I could remember what it was. But here's what's crazy is like out of the blue for no reason at all. I've been having those type of apprehensive dreams from my first husband. Like he's in my dream. I never dream about him, but he's in it. Like I had one last night and I'm trying to figure out why all of a sudden I'm dreaming about this SOB.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but something's going on that's making me like, and they are vivid dreams. and they're really confrontational. Like, I don't understand why, like, what's going on in my mind that I have to have these dreams to sort it out.
That is really odd. Well, see,
Yeah, out of the blue. I don't want to. I mean, he's been dead for 20 something years.
yeah.
I mean,
I will tell you this. When I was married 7 years, and you know what the odd thing is? This happens to me on occasions, maybe a couple times a year. I'll dream about the ex-wife and her dad. I loved her dad. Her whole family loved me. My ex-wife's dad would call me to take me to Red Wing hockey games and exclude her. She used to be so mad at that. Oh, his mom and dad at Christmas time showered me with presents, and only a couple for the daughter. She grew to resent me because of her mom and dad loved me. Really, I do firmly believe that.
Sucks to suck, lady.
Yeah, well, too bad you're, blah blah blah, But I do dream about her occasionally, and I hold nothing against her. I think perhaps with her though, we did have that bond of the ghosts in the house or the shadow people, and we had a couple weird experiences. So maybe that is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But I still to this day love her dad. I haven't talked to him in over 20 years, but that guy was a very cool guy to me. So the whole family was. They were cooler to me than my wife. That's now that I think about it. But again, yeah, so that was weird. But yeah, I dream about her for some odd reason once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, usually when I dream about him, it's like confrontational. Like it's never a good dream. It's very much like real life,
Sure. Right.
Nothing good's coming out of that dream. But just like it's been a run of it. And I can't figure out like, hi, I don't want to dream about this guy.
Yeah, no, I don't really want to dream about the ex. And when I dream about her, it's just she's in the dream, but there's no reason. I mean, it's not a story behind the dream. It's she's just kind of there for a little bit and pops out. But yeah, it's just we got to put together a dream show. People love a lot of people suggested that already.
Yeah,
I love
between you and I, I'm sure we had some doozies.
We got some doozies. I've told so many dream stories. I got more I've never told because I dream like almost so frequently. I will dream during the day,
Yeah, I'll zone out and have, I guess, daydreams.
Yeah, it happens to me quite often. But anyways, yeah, that'd be cool. I still want to do the witch show, which I told you about a long time ago. Maybe
we can do that in October.
In October, I was thinking, because I still got something saved, and of course, I know you got a bunch of stuff. Hey, thanks to Larry Sharp for gifting 5 pirates. Arr. Thanks to Kelly Sandiford for her super chat. Moon became a new member, and I thought somebody else gifted a pirate membership. I don't know if I thought there was. I don't see it in here.
I just saw the one from Larry.
Just Larry. Okay, well.
Oh, Moon became a new member. That was the other thing.
Maybe that was it. But if somebody did, I don't see it in here. But thank you if you did. Oh, Moon at Noon did. I don't know why.
Okay,
Moon became a member, and Moon gifted 5 members. So 10 new pirates.
Yay!
Thank you so much for all that. And today is Thursday. Oh, is Monica doing something tonight?
Monica is doing something tonight. I'm going to talk about my conversation with ChatGPT. So I had seen this trend going around where people are like, give it 3 rules. Like the first rule is you can only give 1-word answers. I told mine it could give 1 or 2-word answers.
Okay.
The second is be simple and direct and clear.
Okay.
And the third rule is say the word whatever, right? I said pumpkin, but people make up whatever. Say this word when you want to say yes, but you were being forced to say no. And then you ask it all kinds of questions. And I asked a bunch of questions about like conspiracy theories, like aliens on Earth, like where do we come from as a species? Like how did we originate here? And the government. I like a lot of Bohemian Grove. I asked a lot of questions, and the answers that it gave were interesting. And to be fair, I don't know if it's giving answers it thinks I want to hear, or if it's giving truth. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
But it's an interesting conversation to listen to.
That is gonna be cool. Yeah, I'll have to tune into that one. That sounds pretty interesting.
Because it went on until ChatGPT basically cut me off.
Oh, it did. Really?
We're done. And I didn't know, because I pay like X amount of dollars. I like paid a year, like a lot of money for access to like all this stuff on ChatGPT.
Okay.
And it basically said, you've reached your limit until this ChatGPT resets in 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah. It told me, it wouldn't let me ask any more questions.
Well, you must have been really.
I was digging down.
Business. Yeah, you got your money's worth out of it, I guess. They said, man, this chick's costing us more money. We got to put her in time out. I don't know.
Or she's asking the wrong questions.
I don't know, ChatGPT.
Shut her up.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they aren't. Hey, Barbara. Thanks to everybody for coming on in. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm gonna check that out. Subscribe to Monica Rollins on YouTube, Our Paranormal World. BMR, if you're new, the Blondes and the Booze, Texas Front Porch Dining Show says stuff. Paranormal Paul. Truth or Tinfoil. That covers all us misfits that will be at the conference. It's fast approaching, everybody. Mateys, 19th and 20th of September. Got my banner done. Did you see the post I sent everybody? I got this vinyl banner.
Yeah, I've been on vacation, dude. I wasn't looking at it.
Oh, yeah. No, I probably not. I got this cool, extremely cool. It's a 3x6 foot vinyl poster. And it's Bigfoot Michiganrob with my face on it.
Very nice.
And I don't know what I was thinking, Monica. I didn't have them install grommets.
Oh no!
And it's heavy as hell.
Yeah.
So,
does somebody have a grommet?
I went to FedEx. Someone suggested going to FedEx. Took it up there and they installed grommets for me.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, and they did a good job, apparently. I mean, they seem very secure. But now I got to go find a frame in which to hang it from, because I don't have nothing like that. I never broke down and bought a frame when I go to conferences. So, yeah, I decided to get something. So I'm looking on something on Amazon. Something else to take to the conference.
Fun.
Yeah, whatever. I might just, I think I'm going to get a frame something I can carry on, or just mail it to the conference. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, mail it to the museum.
Yeah, I might just do that because I don't want to carry all this crap. I like to go light.
When I went like camping out in the PNW, I just literally mailed all my gear out ahead of me because I didn't want to drag it all on a plane.
I'm going to do that because number one, I travel light. When I travel, it doesn't matter if I'm staying 1 day or 1 week. I always carry one duffel bag, and what I need, I buy. That's it. I do not.
When I get on the plane, I just need to have my driver's license, my phone, and my at least one credit card.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Those are my like must-haves.
Yeah.
Driver's license, phone, credit card.
Yep. And I do take the one carry-on. I don't bother. I throw it in the above storage and I'm done. So that's me. Thanks to everybody once again. And yeah, with that being said, I'll tune into Monica tonight because I think this would be pretty cool.
It's going to be an interesting chat.
I'll definitely be lurking in the background and checking it out. You're going to be on with Joe?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. It sounds interesting tonight. Thank you, Monica. Thanks to everybody again. And with that being said, have a great weekend coming up. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks, with an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.